Hello, hello. I've never really felt compelled to really have any kind of video content on YouTube since I was around 14 years old when I had a very crappy YouTube thing going on. But I digress. I am a big wrestling fan. I'm not watched into the attitude area for obvious reasons. You can see this on you can notice this youth, glorious youth, and stuff. And I live in Norway, so wrestling is not the most televised thing here. It's not really a big cultural phenomenon. But I started wrestling in 2009. Despite the fact that it was kind of horrible, I didn't know at the time. I started out as a mark, became a smart mark short after because it's fake and everyone talks about how fake it is. So it's not fake, it's scripted, but I digress. And something that never really interested me, or didn't interest me in the beginning of my wrestling watching career, was women's wrestling. And that's awful, isn't it? Like, why would that be less interesting than watching male wrestling? Yes, for those who don't know, the big, glorious company overlords, the megacorp that really owns American wrestling, WWE, sucks on promoting women's wrestling. They've never really been that good at it during their time with Vince McMahon Jr. When they started they were just valets for potential main eventers and teams and stuff. Up to a certain point when in the late 90s and early 2000s when they started making them wrestle. Like before, way back in time, they had a women's wrestler, but women wrestling, but it kind of died off. And since then, it's really just been a bunch of models that they have tried to remake into a new Trish Stratus ever since they quit. Like there was some decent women's wrestling going on because they had two talents that held up the division, Lita and Trish Stratus. One being a sort of hard rock kind of girl, very athletic, and the other being a model that was a wrestling fan, took an interest in it when she was approached about it, and later became a wrestler and became quite good, despite the fact that she was away for most of her career and shined as a heel. But still, she did well enough. People have a very nostalgical view of everything that came out of the Attitude Era, so she's touted as one of the great women's wrestlers. And this is not true. I mean, she's decent, but if you look at the women's wrestlers that came out of Japan, and even some of the knockouts from TNA, much better out there. But this is besides the point. This is just me ranting, really. And after that, after Trish Stratus and Lita retired from wrestling, they've not really had any kind of real women's division. It's been a joke, like the tag team division. It's just been a bunch of models that they have, found from lingerie magazines and tried to turn into performers. Some were more athletic than others, but none of them have really been that good on the mic, nor that good in the ring. That changed with a little thing called NXT. I'm of course talking about season 3 of the NXT incarnation when it was a kayfabe reality show. I know what you were thinking, but there's a point here. That season was horrible. That show was horrible. NXT was never good, but that was horrible. But it took a bunch of developmental girls and put them on the stage, and some of them were quite good. 3 of them, or 4, I would say, but that's the last one I was going to mention here because she is Lucha Underground now doing a completely different thing. Lucha Underground reference. So cool. But we have Caitlyn, Naomi, and the most famous one, AJ Lee. 2 of them have left the company. The Naomi is left as a girl who has a finisher with her ass flying into your face. So her career is not the best one. But let's talk about AJ Lee and Caitlyn, shall we? Like after NXT, Caitlyn won. Didn't really mean anything. She was actually going to get a Divas championship match. That never happened until way later, but it was not even connected to the competition. She was just floating around in the ether for a period. And then suddenly AJ Lee was brought back in. This really happened to all the NXT workers sooner or later, so this is not really that exciting or new. But we had these two girls. Queen Mile in the division. This was after, this was during Beth Phoenix's rise, really, that's when they were starting to wrestle as a sort of half tag team thing, AJ Lee and Caitlyn being friends IRL. Yeah. And they, this made it the women's division. They were jobbers. Think they were just, as I said, floating around in the ether until Caitlyn on her end would at some point win the Divas Championship for Eve, who had been the dominant diva of the division because she was the only one that could actually talk a little bit, and she was athletic because martial arts. She developed, she was also a martial artist and stuff. The Bella Twins were also at one point having a thing, but honestly, the Bella Twins had never been good in the ring, and before their return now, they were horrendously awful and should have not been anywhere near a wrestling ring at any point. But I'm getting off track. We have Caitlyn coming in, gets her championship ring, and AJ, who started to have a little thing with Daniel Bryan, sort of like, I love you, crush kind of thing, in backstage segments during his time as Mr. Money in the Bank, up until he cashed in on the big show at TLC and won the championship, and then they started to actually have a sort of romantic relationship, so not sort of, but kayfabe romantic relationship going on. At the beginning, it was not really interesting. Daniel Bryan was the sort of dickish heel he developed into that. All like she was yesing. The yes sound was born from his, over celebration of his wins, even her wins. Like when she won a match, he was just going at it. Yes, yes, yes. Like it was, being with her ringside, and he was just going at it when she won. Like he has won the entire match. It was funny, and the jazz encore. Just chant come on, and later Mr. Daniel Bryan went on to win at WrestleMania. Later, to everyone's glee. Not that it did much for him, but still he became a huge star. But so did AJ, because at that WrestleMania that year, 2013. No, 2012. What am I saying? 2012. He went on to lose in 18 seconds to Sheamus after she kissed him. And, he broke kicked Daniel Bryan, won. And then Daniel Bryan later just broke up with her. She just humiliated her in the middle of the ring. Not on WrestleMania, but on the Raw the day after. And here's things started getting interesting. Usually WWE never really capitalizes on these things. They can't do basic storytelling well. So no one really expected anything from this. Like, oh, boo-hoo, and the girl's going to be left now. But she started developing characteristics. She started being one of the two archetypes of woman a woman can be on WWE television, which is either a bitch or an insane person. And she took the insane gig and smashed it out of the park. She actually started being a big player in the WWE title feud between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. She had this whole thing of being this seductress. She became this sort of unintentionally really attractive. Like she was the least supermodel looking at all, and she's pretty, really pretty. But she was kind of girlish looking, and they always try to point that out. She isn't a woman; she's a little girl. Even the mind games to the women, Eve comes in after not being really relevant during her own people power thing. But at least AJ Lee started playing mind games. That the storyline was not really that good, but she got to show off some mic skills. She got to show off a character, something the Divas Division had sorely lacked for so freaking long. Oh my God! And then she was just passed off from male to male after being she was general manager for a really short period, and that did nothing for her. Really, that was just pointless. And then she, she had this thing with John Cena, but then she backstabbed him and went with Dolph Ziggler, Mr. Siggles, and then they had a really nice dynamic with Dolph Ziggler and Big E, being the token female member of that little stable. And, part of her gimmick since her first day on NXT is that she almost since her first time on NXT is that she's actually really seductive and gives these huge kisses. Like, despite the fact that she's the least like womanly looking out of all of them, womanly. Lingerie model, but I would rather say, but whatever. She started developing a character, and then she returned to be an in-ring performer. And here's where things get interesting, because during this period of time, Caitlyn had won the Divas Championship from Eve, and Caitlyn was going for this whole hybrid thing, because when she entered, she was trying to conform to this whole supermodel look everyone else had, but it didn't really work for her. So, she's muscly compared to the others, and still really hot, but muscly. She showcased that, and she had in-ring skills. She was actually entertaining to watch when paired up with someone that had, the ability to follow with her. Not many had, but AJ came. They started feuding, and it was a good feud, actually. In my opinion, it was. I didn't really pay attention back then, but still, it was a good feud because it, showcased both the characteristics of AJ. It, had a storyline that went on for some time. It referenced their friendship thing, and when they were tag teaming, and they had broken off at the point, but whatever. Mind games from AJ to psychological destabilize Caitlyn by using Big E and Secret Admirer thing. And they had this very good match at WWE Payback, and they had actually a promo package before the match. And I don't think I've ever seen any Divas match outside of NXT since that had that thing. But that was really cool. That's really cool. And then AJ carried the division for a year. Or not quite a year, but a year. She did. Because there was no real competition out there. And, she was doing her thing with Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn, and she broke up from Dolph Ziggler, had a tag team match, yabba yabba. Not that much. But she was, doing promos from time to time and keeping it on. And then Total Divas comes into existence. Total Divas, for those of you that don't know, or just for the sake of redundancy, I'm explaining it anyway, is a reality show on the E! Network where you get to see the real WWE Divas, or at least a certain portion of them. And this reality show where you see their lives and a little backstage stuff. And the Bella Twins return from the ether. And who thought this was a good idea? I know why they did it, but seriously, it didn't help anyone. It was, I don't want to use any strong words here, but it only damages the business. I know everyone knows it's scripted, fake, call it whatever. But this show just introduces so many continuity errors because they're not trying to keep the show and, mainstream WWE programming separate. No, they're constantly referencing each other. And this leads to problems. I'm going to talk about those now. And Nikki Bella and Brie Bella are wife/girlfriends, but with one of the two biggest stars in the company, John Cena and Daniel Bryan, respectively. Brie with Daniel Bryan and Nikki with John Cena. And the Bella Twins, during a certain period of time during the Total Divas Reign, were faces that never really worked because they didn't have a character then. Their only character now is that they're high school style bitches, but still. They were feuding with AJ because AJ didn't want to have anything to do with this, both on screen and off screen. for very obvious reasons. It was never a good idea at all, and she probably likes her privacy, I suppose. There's Total Divas does this whole thing where you see the seamstresses and stuff in the back, how Divas gadgets is cut, the sort of like hierarchy going on there. With you have the newcomers, that's the lower card girls at the time that were Naomi and what the fuck is her name on screen? Cameron? Yes, Cameron. And you have the faces of the company, or the Divas division at least, the Bella Twins. Now that's a disgrace. And then you have the virtual Natalia, and then they have these two rookies that that just came in, JoJo and Eva Marie. No, I'm not going further into it. No. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, this was never a good idea. I can't repeat that enough. This was never a good idea. They earn a lot of money on it. It apparently has good ratings. So from that perspective, like the goal was to make a cash cow, and guess what? It worked. But here's where the continuity issues start to kick in. Because AJ was feuding with the cast because she dropped a pipe bombshell. Because she's with CM Punk and her promo style is largely inspired from him. I at least see it that way. I can be totally wrong, but it's very reminiscent of his pipe bomb work shoot style of promo. And she just ripped the entire cast to shreds. It was really entertaining. It was really good. And one of the more watched segments of that Raw, if I remember correctly. And this pissed them off, both inside and outside the ring. That was left to nothing, but she was still feuding with them. And cue a lot of bad matches going on until Paige from NXT comes in. And here we're going to talk about the good NXT. The NXT that's not a pseudo reality show kind of thing. Now we're going to talk about NXT the developmental. That's the reborn FCW. Where you're, I can praise NXT for high heavens. Just watch it. Only WWE programs really worth watching. And it's the best thing on WWE Network. You have NXT. And unlike mainstream WWE television, they actually try to make their women seem like legitimate performers and actually teach them to have real matches instead of hair pulling contests. And they also take in stars from the indies, like Paige. Brittany Knight has been traveling around in Europe for years. I've seen her perform in Norway when she was much younger. She's good. She's really good. And you have Emma from Australia, and Emma's talented enough, I suppose. And bring in, the four horsewomen, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley. I'm not thoroughly researched their histories, but I know some of them at least. I think all of them have an indie background, as far as I remember. The trainer for the women at NXT is Sarah Dillon, an extremely fantastic performer. And she was never in the WWE as a diva, and thank God for that. They would have nurtured her. Oh fuck! Oh no. Okay. And they build them up as performers. They have good matches, they have actual storyline. Some sucked, but that happens. They just built them up as good performer. Paige is brought in to a huge pop. She takes the championship from AJ one day. She's already screwed. She's already screwed on arrival because after that whole thing, her entire character arc is that she's supposed that everyone thinks she's this rookie that needs to prove herself and it was proven. And it's mind-numbingly hilarious. Brittany Knight has been wrestling for 7 years on the independent circuit. And the so-called faces of the company, the Bella Twins, for a large part of their career, they were arm candy for the guest host of Raw, and I know you probably tried to, you know, forget that, but still, that was their thing. They did some wrestling matches before that, but really, they have never really competed. Like, that's one of the key problems with the women's division. They never really competed in any kind of matches. There were 2-minute hair pulling contests, you know, and you don't get experience from that. Anyway, he's screwed up on arrival. She's supposedly this rookie now that needs to prove herself, and it's hilariously funny because she's been wrestling since she was 15 years old. She's young, but still, she's been wrestling for all over the world. She's been wrestling in Britain, Norway. I've already mentioned this, but still, just pushing this over. And she is the rookie. And I know WWE don't like to acknowledge indie stuff unless it's like Bryan Danielson, and they have to, because they're not stupid, and the internet is big now. So, yes, Paige was screwed upon arrival. AJ comes back. Eventually, they had this really horrible feud where they frenemies, crazies, lesbian things. Honestly, it was bad. They never really clicked. They had some okay-ish good matches from time to time. The first match was horrible, but still. And it's led into this Paige character where Paige has no friends on the roster because she's been backstabbing everyone. And eventually, I'm arriving at a point. Eventually, that Nikki Bella becomes champion. Because meanwhile, this has happened. Nikki and Brie have had their feud because Brie feuded with Stephanie McMahon after Daniel Bryan got injured. It was not a good feud. A lot of people were just breathtaking by this story, and I was not. I honestly tried to not watch it because it was boring as shit. And it was going to end up with them wrestling at some point. And a lot of people have been saying, you know, talking about how good the Bella Twins have been improved in the ring. They've improved! Yes, and I'm sure shit would improve if you poured caramel on shit. It's still caramelized shit. You can't make it that good, okay? They are decent at best. No, they're not decent. They're bad at best. Okay. And then Nikki Bella double crosses Brie, and they have this really bad feud. Really, really bad. I wish you died in the world. You know, Nikki Bella, like a lot of people say, like, Nikki Bella's cooking up for. No, she isn't. She is acting like a valley girl. Okay, I'm not trying to sound like a pig, but her whole appeal is her tits. Let's be honest here. Her finisher is named the Rack Attack. You know, because she also up in, you know, on a torture rack. It's not a torture rack, but you know, and then she jumps down on her knees. Referencing her tits. That's her entire appeal. Really, she doesn't have anything else going for her. She isn't that good on the mic. She cuts a very basic, swarmy kind of, I'm a high school cheerleader kind of girl. I'm dating the jock. I'm a great woman. And my sister's going to go and beat you because I tortured her into submission. And here we're going out to the point where Total Divas is bad for business because it introduces weird continuity things. Why would John Cena be dating this woman? Just think about it. John Cena, the on-screen character of John Cena. Hustle, loyalty, and respect. The great hero. The children worships his shoes and his t-shirts and his Wonder Woman, you know, wristbands. And I think John Cena's great, but there's a point here. Why would he be with this bitch? Honestly, because they never try to hide the fact that they are together. This is constantly referenced. Maybe they're broken up, but no, they haven't. But because I would have heard about it from the, you know, the news sites. But still, why? Why would he be that? She is this horrible person who tortured her, humiliated, insulted, beat up, and abused her sister into submission, into becoming her lackey again. And yeah, she's that. She did that. And John Cena's still with this woman for some reason. You know, I know everyone knows it's scripted, but that kind of hurts. They're telling two conflicting stories here. Because I know that she isn't that much of, yeah, of course she's not that much of a bitch in real life, obviously, but still, why with the on-screen? Because they never stop shoving it into our faces that Brie Bella is married to Daniel Bryan. She does the kicks very badly, but she does his, chest kicks while they're sitting on their knees, and everyone is like, yes, yes, yes. Why would anyone do this? Why would Nikki Bella or Brie Bella be together with their respective husbands or boyfriends? Because Brie has also become a bitch now. She's just her sister's lackey now, but still. They go at this, and they take the champion in a sort of surprise twist where reminiscent of the 18 seconds moment where Brie just comes up and lesbian kisses, gives her a really tepid lesbian kiss that's not really. He didn't do anything for anyone, let's be honest here. And then she's pinned, 1, 2, 3. The feud, championship is taken back, is not taken back by AJ. And then they feud with Paige. It's really uneventful. I have honestly forgotten most of this because it was a haze in my mind. Like, I can remember some matches and they were all horrible. And it goes to WrestleMania, Paige and AJ tags. AJ didn't tell the WWE she was going to retire after this. She wins. She later retires because, things. And then you go some more. The Bella Twins are a heel-face revolving door. Naomi turns heel because at some point she and Cameron split up from being the full suited sex dolls of Brothers Clay. Her gimmick has not really changed. She has a big ass and she jumps in her face with it, and she's a good athlete. That's her gimmick. And Naomi is now the sort of heel character. She doesn't really have a character. She's a bitch like everyone else. And she gets Tamina on her side at some point, and the Bella Twins turn heel and face so many times I can't really pay attention anymore. Paige feuds, it doesn't do anything. And then the Revolution, which is the reason I made this video, starts. Because let's go back to NXT. Contrast. While this was going on, NXT, they built the wrestlers up. After Paige left, forfeited her title, or it was stripped away from her, I don't remember at this point, after she was called up, Charlotte became champion. And she was champion for quite a while. She won it in this tournament, having a great match with Talia. And then she moved on to feuding with Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks being the great breakout character of NXT, like the biggest star they probably have produced out of all the girls on the list. She eventually wins the championship, having some great matches. First, a great singles match with her. Then, a great fatal four-way match at, I think it was Rival. And then they had this wonderful match, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch later. And then it comes, and then the Revolution starts around now. Okay. 3 of them are called up. Sasha Banks, not Paige, but Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. 2 of them are faces, 1 of them are heel. And the Revolution starts with this. Stephanie McMahon, the great authority figure, a heel, is going to usher in this new age of the Divas. And, all the Divas guys in the ring, you have Divas, and you have the Team Bella, which is like the dominant force. You have Paige. Then you have Naomi and Tamina coming in. We're just like, we want to be dominant. What's the entire comes in. And then she introduces Charlotte and Becky Lynch, and then suddenly the boss, Sasha Banks, really bad. And then they come in, and then this horrible brawl starts out where Sasha Banks You know, it doesn't make sense. Suddenly she's teaming up with the NXT girls, then she's not. Then she's teaming up with them again, then she's not. You know, it just go back and forth. But eventually it ends up with 3 factions coming out. Team Bella with the 2 Bella twins and Alicia Fox. Team PCB. Or is it PBC or PCB? Oh, I don't care. Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. And then I hope there's more drinks to steal this problem. Oh, whatever, I have to go on. I have to just concentrate on my own. Team Bad, or oh wait, BAD. Beautiful and dangerous, or is it beautiful and dominant? I don't care. No one cares. Team Bad, okay? Who can take this seriously? It's like in the fucking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon where there was Team Meanies. What? Team Bad? It just already you're seeing the problem. They're bringing up the 3 NXT girls who are supposed to be the revolution, so it's supposed to bring life into the women's division because it was pretty much dead. And the NXT women's matches were some of the best things on the program. Just like, let's bring this in, and they completely missed the point. Like immediately, like they brought them in and turned into factions. One thing, if you're going to do an invasion storyline, and if you're going to do it a team, make it a team. Put all the NXT girls together. Why are you suddenly teaming Sasha Banks up with Naomi and Tamina? And I'm going to get back on that, by the way, that team. I'm going to discuss that later, but let's just discuss this team dynamic. Because the reason why NXT, the women's division of NXT, was successful, and you already know this, was because they've had great, varied matches with each other, singles competition, and meaningful, long-lasting storylines and feuds. Same thing, but get what I mean. You know, they were all clearly defined. They all had a lot of time to work with, and they were in an environment where good wrestling is encouraged. Then they moved them up to WWE and put them into factions, and where they're not squaring off against each other, but they're squaring off against the current demon. And here we arrive at the problem. With few exceptions, the Divas that were already on the program suck. All of them. Alicia Fox should be in jail. I mean, seriously, she can kill someone. This woman must be stopped. I remember when she was given the championship way back in the day, like was it 2010 or 2011? It hurts my head to think about it. Well, I think it was 10. She was a champion, and she was winning matches, and she had a finisher, and she still has it, I think. This fucking scissor kick, and it looks horrible. It looks like she's trying to murder a person because she botches it every single time. She looks like she's killing people, and not in a good way. She's not looking like Brock Lesnar when he's doing his German suplexes, like he's impactful and strong. No, she completely misses. She isn't really hitting them with her leg even. She's hitting them with her upper thigh and her ass. It's horrible. Anyway, sorry. I will calm down. They suck. And while the NXT was good, they can't, like, as Paige has proven it to us, she can't drag these people to a good match. And she's been wrestling since she was 15. This isn't her blood. She's from the Knight family. And she can't drag these women to a good match. Charlotte and Becky Lynch are not going to fare any better with this. They put them in these awful team matches. I think it was triple threat at one point. And it was the best Brie Bella match I've ever seen. When she was not involved, it was a great match because it was between the NXT Divas. But when Brie Bella was involved, it sucked. Honestly, it sucked. And yeah, And that's all I need to say about it. They completely missed the point with what was good about the NXT, or what is good about the NXT women's division. Meaningful, good matches where they book them, where they don't, where just get hung up in their tit size and if the bitches are crazy or not, and lesbian kisses. Real matches, competitive, good matches with enough time and a move variety. Great job. And also good in-ring storytelling. None of these things is going on here. Because, as I said, you can pour caramel on shit. It's not going to improve the shit that much. Maybe we'll do something with stench, but shit will remain. Okay? The same thing happens if you try to put it in a candy box. The shit is still there. It's still glaringly obvious. And that's where the problem is, really. Like, it's been really boring. They just talked about the revolution. The revolution has never actually taken place. They just talked about how it took place. This has been pointed out by many people, but yeah. And yeah, I mean, I could rant more about why it sucks, but that's pretty much why. They completely missed the point and they're fucked with it. And in contrast, Bayley and Sasha Banks has probably had the best WWE women's match I've ever seen at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. The NXT, once again, doing basic storytelling. I almost came because of that match. That's how good it was. And, it's wonderful. It had a promo package. It had pay-per-view style entrances. Everything. In-ring storytelling, drama. It was wonderful. And then I go and watch Raw. Or then I go and watch SummerSlam. The pain. I watched SummerSlam right after that. I shouldn't have. Really, our SummerSlam was okay enough, I suppose, no, it wasn't. But it was this horrible. Was it a triple threat team match, elimination match, or was it two teams squaring off against? I don't even remember at this point. Yeah. Anyway, it's horrible. It just showcased everything was bad. PCB won. Raw next day. Team Bella wins. See the problem here? No one gets to stay dominant. The NXT faction don't get to keep their wins. And at the same time, Nikki Bella keeps the championship. She didn't defend it for like 4 months, and she eventually breaks AJ Lee's record because Vince McMahon is petty. It's a thing. She didn't deserve. Out of everyone in the fucking world, Nikki Rack Attack Bella is not the one to earn it. But whatever. No one is going to remember her title reign. We are always going to remember AJ's title reign and how she breathed some life into this division. Okay. And now we're going back to Team Bad because Team Bad sort of disappeared into the ether. Paige is this meta heel now, where she kept it, where she did this meta promo about the fucking Divas Revolution after Charlotte won the championship. But let's go back to Team Bad. You put Sasha Banks, the most electrifying character in the Divas on the Divas roster, the best one by far. The most, and she's character is very basic, but she's the best promo they have. She's one of the best women in the ring they have. She's young. She's everything going for her. She's gorgeous. She's a complete package. And I can't say that about all the NXT members. I don't think Charlotte's is a complete package. She's a great athlete. She's an Amazon of a woman. She's great in the ring. But another thing, her what am I saying? Woo! Suck. She does just like kind of like this. Woo! Like you have to have a sort of bass to your voice for it to work. But anyway, I stole that from Laura Antfire. I can't take credit for that, but yeah, I thought that myself. Her voice sucks, but she can't cut a promo to save her life. She's horrible on the mic. She's like, ugh. Well, not horrible, I suppose, but don't give her a microphone, please. Just keep that away from her. And Becky Lynch is the least relevant of them because, I mean, she's great in the ring, but I am Irish and I spin my hair around, toss my hair around, is not a character. She used to be Shazzabank's lapdog on NXT. And, you know, she's great in the ring, but, yeah, she's not relevant. And Paige being this, turned into this meta heel and turned on that. And PCB is kind of not a thing. And Natalia has come back, whatever. Team Bat. I saw them recently. They're having a sort of win streak over Team Bella. And here's the problem. When Team Bad comes out, guess whose music they're playing? Team Bad consists of Naomi, Tamina, Sasha Banks. You have Ass to Face, Enforcer Girl that seems to just be an enforcer for people that never really had any kind of character before. And it's okay enough in the ring, I suppose. Sasha Banks, the great force behind this Divas Revolution thing. Guess whose music they're playing? Because it makes the most sense, obviously. They play Tamina's. They turn Tamina into the leader. You know, she's walking in the front of the team, turning to her music, and everyone is doing their sort of entrance motions. What the fuck are they doing? Like, one thing when Sasha Banks' NXT championship was brought up, she never had the championship with her, which is stupid. And she is a greater star than both of them combined. She's one of the main, you know, driving forces of the NXT Divas women's division. And you have her be one of the women on the side of Tamina. As to the face, the rear view, I think it's called. What the fuck are they thinking? The thing that inspired me to even start this rambling piece of shit was when I was watching Raw. I watched Raw. And it was Team Bella versus Team Bad. Bad. It sounds like a sheep. They come out with there's in Boston, Massachusetts, and they come out to Tamina's music. No, not Tamina, to Naomi's music. Did I say Tamina's music or whatever? I'm not going to edit this because I don't know shit about video editing. Every mistake, my bad. Comment section. Feel free to slaughter me for this. Yes. I'm not sure what to say. You go to Sasha Banks' hometown and you have her walk on the side of fucking Tamina. Like, WWE, are you complete? What are you doing? What? Pieces of shit. This could have been so simple. This could have been the only thing they had to do to make this work and make this a great thing. They would have popped immensely for her if they put her in the forefront, use her entrance music, which is much better than Tamina's, by the way. Naomi's, and just go in there and have her win. It would have been that simple. I don't want to have Team Bella involved here, but yeah. What the fuck is going on? Who is doing this? Like, Stephanie McMahon tried to usher this in. One of the starting problems here, because the heel is trying to start a revolution, which is a positive thing. They just wanted her. Stephanie McMahon is a woman, so she wants to take credit for it. That's the thing. She wants to be in on it, but no, just no. Fall off, please. You shouldn't have been involved with this. I don't know how I would have booked it. I wouldn't have put them on teams. I would have faced the Bella sluts out of this, and have the the NXT roster compete in proper length matches. Like, you can have Natalia and Paige. You have good wrestlers there. You have good talent in among the shit. You have Paige, you have Natalia, you have Tamina can work, you can have Naomi that can work to a certain degree. Just phase out all the fucking lingerie models and just keep them in and just have a varied roster that can, it's not that deep, but it's going to be deeper. We'll get again more depth with time as Divas is called up. And just have them wrestle. Just wrestle matches. Not on the fucking high school kind of bickering crap. Just have them wrestle good matches. Have good in-ring storytelling. It's not hard. Like, NXT doesn't really tell the greatest stories in the world. They tell very basic wrestling stories, but it works. I can just die here. I can just, sleep in and just forget about wrestling, I suppose. But, like all wrestling fans, like, why do you watch WWE? A lot of people say it. It's some kind of self-masochistic hobby. So we kind of want to see where it goes. It's like a car crash. You kind of can't turn your eyes away from it. And then you have NXT that gives us hope for the future. I should make a video where I fucking talk about what they're doing with the NXT talent in general. But let's just go on here. This thing has completely failed. The wind is completely out of their sails because they completely missed the point. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what the thought process was. Just bring them in, and it's like what's going political here. Warning, warning. It's kind of like the American Iraq plan. We're going in. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to war away terrorism because they totally amassed weapons of mass destruction world. And how are we going to stabilize the region later? We are Americans. We're going to spread freedom dust. Did I think that the NXT universe were going to spread NXT quality dust? They just come up here and just, with their aura, just improve the quality? That's not how quality works. You need two people to dance tango, generally speaking. And when one is kneeing you in the stomach every time you try to do a dance move, it's not going to be a good dance. That's the point at the end of the day, really, isn't it? They completely missed the point of what made the NXT, or what makes the NXT product great, and they tried to capitalize on it, and they've failed miserably. They honestly just need to, as I said, just face the bells that's out of here, and please shut down Total Divas, because, or at least if you're going to do that, keep the girlfriends of face wrestlers face, or turn the wrestlers heel, so it doesn't damage the business completely. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I've enjoyed my little ranting thing. Not sure if I'm going to repeat this. Maybe I will. I will at least try to get this on views, because I needed to vent and I needed to rant, and that's what you are here for, aren't you? It's been a pleasure. I'm Carden, and I will see you, hopefully, soon.